And the time now, 6:22, time for Chamber Connection. And Doug, good to see you here early in the week, Tuesday morning.
That's good to see you, Brody.
And you guys had a big day Friday, the governor up here in northern Michigan, and I know you spent a good day, a good part of the day with him. Tell me a little bit about the governor's visit on Friday.
Right, it was a combined meeting by the Michigan Land Use Institute, the Northwest Michigan Council of Governments, and the Chamber, Traverse Bay Economic Development Corporation, to bring the governor up and have him talk about what he's looking at in terms of talent attraction for the region, infrastructure investments, and then to talk more about some of his priorities as governor.
And what were some of his priorities? What were some of the things that he highlighted?
You know, one of the great things about this governor is that his catchphrase is kind of relentless positive action. So the governor didn't spend his time talking about what's wrong with the state, what's wrong with the legislature, what's wrong with anything. He talked about what's positive, what are good things that are happening in the state. He talked about his focus on keeping talent in Michigan, growing talent in Michigan, strategic investments in the state, getting the budget to where we can start growing the state and pay off some of the structural debt of the state, and then start investing in things like the arts and education and the communities that we live in. But he challenged, in each of the things he said, he challenged the people in the room, he challenged the community to do what we could do and not rely on the government to do for us. And so it's a public-private partnership.
Yeah, and he campaigned heavily on that, the fact that he experienced success and could provide leadership in the sense of his experience he had in the private sector. But one area that you mentioned that you kind of were hoping that he would touch more on was education funding, and that's certainly a big concern for schools in our northern Michigan communities.
Right. The governor talked about the uniqueness of each area in the state and how each area could contribute differently to the recovery of the state and the growth of it. But when it came to education, we asked the governor about equity in school funding. And, to his credit, he said, I really don't have a good answer on that right now. That's going to take a couple of years before I get to that in my plan for the state. So our focus right now is on the legislature. We had a legislative panel that day with 8 legislators there. They talked a lot about equity in school funding, and I know that Representative McMaster from the Charlevoix area is introducing a resolution that all of our delegation is signing on to, urging the legislature to pass more money to start addressing that gap between school districts that get as much as $12,000 to $14,000 per student and ones like TCAPs that get $7,000 per student.
Sure, something that a lot of people want to see addressed. Well, it sounds like it was a busy visit and a good visit, and want to thank you for coming in and sharing your thoughts. A little ahead of schedule. Normally we do our chamber on Friday, but we brought you in here on Tuesday, so appreciate you coming in.
Super Tuesday.
Super Tuesday,
yeah,
that it is. Well, now let's turn things over to Joe Charlevoix with a Super Tuesday edition of Weather Watchers.